What up? We're gonna finally talk about Hub Group. Good call. Before I start, the sun is just right in my eyes. The truck is idling because it is now 87 degrees. And this morning, my truck, I got woken up by my truck shutting off because it was 39 degrees outside. So, I don't know what the hell's going on. The weather is going to be fluctuating like this in Texas, I suppose. But we're going to start off by I'm basically going to read off my Glassdoor review. It's been a minute since I've been there. I've got my laptop here with me. And I'm just going to read what I wrote and then kind of, explain some things. I will state first and foremost that this is no reflection on the gents that work inside that do basically everything. And what I will say is that when they're gone, nothing gets done, okay? So for those of you that want to work a local job in Houston, consider this if you're thinking about going to Hub Group from the Houston terminal. All right, here we go. No, that's not gonna work. All right. So, these are the pros, okay? These are the pros. Ride the clock out at $10.50 an hour. Like to sit in your truck more and drive less. If you start early enough, you can avoid a lot of traffic in Houston. That's nice. If you like starting your day at 0500 and getting off at 1900 or later. If you like doing that stuff. Remember, these are the pros. If you don't like getting overtime. If you like dropping your keys off every night and possibly having someone else drive your truck every day. There's slip seating. Quite often. But usually you get your own truck if it works. If you like packing all your stuff up every day and throwing it in your personal vehicle if you don't want anything stolen. Because the lot is not gated. It is gated, but there's no gate that actually closes. It's open all night long because people come in and out no matter what. It's a rougher side of town, so there's a lot of people walking around down that road. So there's a good chance that it seems like there's a good chance for something to get stolen out of your truck. Granted, nothing ever got stolen out of mine, but I was only there for 4 days so I can't attest to that. If you like to stay in Roach Coach motels on days you're stuck in your truck. So if they know that you're going to make a run and you're not going to have the clock to get back, they'll give you a credit card so that you can stay in a room. I never got the opportunity to do that. And given how well they maintain their equipment, I only imagine and guessed somebody's getting paid well. Jesus, that's a nice car. Given all that, I imagine they give you like the bare minimum hotel somewhere. Though, don't quote me. I will imagine that they give you a hotel that you really want to make sure that there's no bed bugs in it, so you don't bring them back to your truck and then thus bringing them back to your house. 95% drop and hook. Although I seemed, in the 3 days that I worked there, I got live loaded freaking 2 to 3 times in the 4 days I was there. And granted, 3 out of those 4 days, I was broke down. Only really 2 locations will cause you to have to sleep away from home. So that's why it's 95%. Usually the dedicated routes that travel, they have you come up here towards Dallas actually, and or in the valley. And those 2 could potentially cause you to not come home that night. You'd have to sleep in your truck, which thus you would end up sleeping in a hotel, which I imagine is already predetermined. Or you pick out your own hotel and you get a credit card with preloaded money on it so that you can pay for it. Then this job is for you. You don't pay for fuel, thank God. That's another thing. You don't pay for fuel. Okay, let's go to the cons. My first con. All the pros if you don't like any of those. Like any of the pros if you don't like any of them. Recruiters will straight up lie to you and state that you'll make an average of $1,600 to $1,750 per week as per their average driver pay, which was absolutely false. Road leading to the yard is absolute garbage. Get ready to spend a lot of time driving incredibly slow to avoid shortening the mandatory 3-month suspension checkups to ensure that your car doesn't fall apart on the way home or on the way to work. Houston gets the worst equipment. They get the hand-me-downs that the people in Dallas don't want anymore. All the trucks that I see out here from Hub Group look very nice. But the ones that we had down in Houston were the ones with over 400,000 miles, 300,000 miles, and they're over fucking 4 years old. So, yeah. Chassis and containers are barely street legal, if that. Usually they're not street legal, and that's why I spent 3 out of 4 days repairing my equipment. Union Pacific runs their chassis. They rent their chassis from Union Pacific, so they do the absolute bare minimum to make sure that those chassis are working. All they care about is getting the freight on the trains and having the trains run them. You're the one that's going to get dinged with the fucking ticket, not them, so they might. I don't know. Don't quote me. Let's see. Waiting for rail bills will cost you more time than to drive there in rush hour traffic. I missed out on a couple of deliveries to the rail yard because they didn't bill the railing. But the current company I'm with right now, that's not a problem. As soon as I get dispatched, it is billed. It's like it's automatic. I don't know how the hell they do it, but it's always ready when I get here. I'm never waiting. As soon as I get here, it's ready to go. I'm able to get into the rail yard, drop the trailer in the spot they want me to, get the hell out. That's what I want. Get me in, get me out. Waiting for repos will cost you the same amount of time. So repos are whenever you try to bill an empty. You have a loaded trailer, it gets billed because you want it to go to California or, I don't know, somewhere else. That's usually where most of the freight that comes out of Dallas goes, is California, because it shoots straight to California from here. If you have an empty, you need to get it billed as an empty with no damage. If you're bringing an empty in, usually without it being billed, you have to report damages, and that's why you're bringing it in. You bring it in to get repaired. Not the container, but the chassis, I believe. After 2 years of service, you will get another $1 or $2 an hour, and that increases every 1 to 2 years after those. So you start at $10.50. I think you max out at like $15.50 an hour after 10 years of service there, and then it stops after that. Who would work there for 10 plus years? I don't know, but God help them. I guess somebody that is basically, if you're a young guy, now you could be 18, even before. I think 18-year-olds could drive intrastate. They could drive within the same state. Now they could drive interstate, so they could drive all 48. But if you're 18, you don't have any kids or responsibilities, you still live at home with mom and dad, or parent or guardian, that kind of money would work for you. You could bring home $700 a week and be fine with that. That's fine. That, and then it gives you a reason to be on your own and kind of have your own place, you know, if you have to stay in your truck for some reason. Pay is more on weekends when pay should be more all week. So during the weekends, you get an additional, every weekend day, you get an additional $112 or something to start. That's just bottom line. As soon as you clock in, as soon as you log into your truck, you're immediately paid $112 plus everything you do for the day. So you get a certain amount of percentages. You get paid mileage rate, which is all predetermined based on your load. They'll tell you how many miles it's worth. That's how much money you're getting paid. There's a flat rate. I think it's like anything from $30 or $20 up to $40. And that's from 0 miles all the way up to 100 miles. 101 miles and plus you get paid mileage, which I think the mileage is like 42 cents a mile. Don't quote me. Like I said, this all could be changing, and it could have been changed. It could have already been changed. I don't know. Oh, here we go. 39 cents per mile, anything over 100 miles. I just answered my own fucking question here. So, starting pay is $10.50 an hour plus additional flat rates ranging from $21 to $39, anywhere from 1 to 100 miles. No matter how long it takes you to get there. In Houston, Texas, there is always fucking traffic. So, if you're driving 15 miles, that's going to take you at least half an hour. 62 on the pedal, 65 on the cruise. You can't really ride the cruise because there's always somebody in front of you going too slow. And you're basically just driving 62 miles an hour the whole way wherever you're going. So, if you drive 0 to 15 miles, even if that takes you half an hour, you're getting paid $20 just for that. just the mileage plus however long it takes you. So half an hour is what, $5.30 something cents a mile or an hour for the half hour, because you're getting paid $10.50 an hour. So for that 30 minutes, however long it takes you to get there, you're getting paid that much money, which it can add up. Don't get me wrong, it does add up. People are still there. They're obviously still in business. People are making money, but if you're looking for a specific amount of money and the low side of that is not where you want to be, then this isn't where you want to be. 39 cents per mile, anything over 100 miles. So I was way off. 39 cents a mile over 100 miles. I'm getting like 50 something cents a mile here as a regional driver. And then I get, you know, bonus pay for dropping hooks, live loads, rail delays, breakdown, layover, all that shit. I get extra money for all that on top of the mileage. So, yeah, granted, mileage is where I get most of my money, but no APUs in the trucks, and they shut off after 5 minutes of idle, unless it's a certain temp. Of course, people have mentioned in my comment section what you could do to bypass that. There's like a little spot on the driver's side mirror that has a temperature gauge. If you put a hot hands on there, you like strap it onto the mirror, it'll keep the truck idling. It'll make it seem like it's hotter outside than it actually is. And if you're not paying for the fuel, fuck it, right? Let's see, speed limit is 62 miles an hour unless using cruise, which caps you at 65. And like I said before, if there's always somebody in front of you in Houston. You're never gonna be able to go 65 unless you start hella early in the morning and there ain't nobody on the road. Job can be physically demanding with all the dropping hooks. Not just all the dropping hooks, but how fucked up the equipment is. Like I said, and if you guys watched my video before, when I was working there and I hadn't yet disclosed who I worked for, and I talked about sitting there for 9.5 hours waiting for somebody to come weld a crank handle back onto the chassis. Yeah, most of the chassis aren't greased right. You're going to be putting a lot more physical labor into it. I wouldn't be surprised if people have been pulling muscles trying to get these damn crank handles down or up. It can be very physically demanding. If you're not fit enough to do it, it could be problematic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's impossible to do. I'm just saying that that's something that you need to look at from the outside in. And only you know what you're capable of, you know. 11 to 14 hour days, not including your drive to and from home. So my house was roughly about half an hour away. That's an hour of my time that I'm using to get to and from work. I'm also using my fuel to get to and from work. So that's another thing you have to factor in as well. It's like what you're making versus what you're spending. You're not spending anything when you're in the truck, but it does take you time to get up there and back home. So really, you're just getting home for enough time. You're getting there with just enough time to go to sleep. That's basically all you're doing. Maybe eat something on the way. You know, like scoff it down, go home, crash out, wake up, like go home, take a shower, crash out, wake up, go to work again until your day's off. Let's see. Spend more, work-life balance is non-existent. Spend more time getting repairs than driving. Tractors, trailers, chassis, and containers. I can't tell you, you have to go out there. These containers get beat up all the time. You need to go back there during daylight hours most of the time. Have somebody shut the door behind you and look for light leaks. A lot of these places that deliver there or that they pick up from require that the trailer be clean and there be no holes in the container. So you have to go back there with some duct tape or some tar tape or something like that and make sure all that shit's taped up. And then you also have to sweep the trailers out. And a lot of the time you're gonna see a lot of cat litter. You're breathing all that shit in and it's bad for you. So, you know, wear a mask. Let's see, a lot of sitting, not a lot of driving, so not making any money. You know, you're sitting around making $10.50 an hour while you're waiting for your truck to get repaired. Granted, the guys there at the office did try to compensate me for breakdown. They're not making me sit for $10.50 an hour. I forget what rate they were giving me. I think I'd overheard somebody mention that it was like $20-something an hour for breakdown. It's like, well, shit, I might as well just sit fucking broke down all day because I'd be making more money than driving. If you want to possibly get dings on your DAC because you run shoddy equipment, you have to run shoddy equipment to make any money. So you're putting your CDL on the line every time you drive a trailer of theirs or a chassis because there's always going to be something wrong with it. The 4 days that I worked there, like I said, 3 of those days out of those 4 days I was broke down, waiting for repairs. So it's not beneficial, man. Like I got out while I could. As soon as the guys in the office leave, nothing gets fucking done. I'll add more as I think of them, so check back every now and then. Well, it's been over 30 days. I'm not allowed to edit it anymore. Advice to management: pay those that make you the money, the amount that they deserve. Give them equipment that will allow them to perform what's expected of them. Fire everyone in Dallas. They hold the noobs more accountable for failed deliveries and HOS violations due to their negligence. So basically what I'm saying right there is these guys don't know, they know what they're doing, but they don't fucking want to work. The main office is here out of Dallas. If the guys at the office leave, they usually get there at about 3 to 5 in the morning, and they'll be gone by noon to 3 in the afternoon. And they only work Monday through Friday. So any weekend days, you're relying on Dallas to get with you. It's not good. Like I said, I missed out on being able to deliver to the rail yard because they never built the container and chassis I was trying to bring in. So I had to bring it to the yard. I was running out of clock. So I sent a message. I was like, due to Dallas's negligence, I just missed out on delivering an empty to the yard, or to the rail yard, because they failed to get back with me. Even though they responded and said, got your message and we're working on it. No, the fuck, they weren't working on it. So, truckers beware. Hub Group in Houston, Texas is very shady. They don't pay you enough. Their equipment is dog shit. And you're not gonna make any fucking money there. So this is just a warning from me to you. All these fucking haters out here talking about how I'm job hopping. When it comes to shit, I have expectations. A lot of people get complacent where they're at. They feel like they're stuck. I'm not gonna do that. I have worked my ass off the last year to have money to be able to do shit like this, to move around, try to find the perfect fit for me. It seems like local and regional are just not gonna work. So I'm out there right now looking for a better lease option, and if all else fails, I've always got Prime to fall back on. So right now I got a couple of other companies in the works. I'm still fighting this ticket. That'll be another fucking 3 weeks before I even hear anything on the ticket part. Those of you that are just watching this to know about Hub Group, I'm sorry, this is all shit that I've talked about on my channel. If you want to check it out, why don't you subscribe, huh? I got a lot of fucking stories, and I try to share as much information as I can, and a lot of my days, which a lot of people seem to be interested in, but I haven't been really doing it much because of the craziness that's been happening with my life lately, with job hopping, trying to find the perfect solution. And somebody had mentioned in one of my comment sections saying that I should be like the Mike Rowe of trucking. Instead of dirty jobs, it's dirty trucks, dirty truck driving companies. I'll say right now, the company that I work for, despite my rocky start, is not a bad company. I just don't think that financially they're going to be able to provide me the money that I require to keep my head above water. I feel like the water level is like right here, and my nose is just barely sticking up past that shit. So like at any moment, a wave could come over and just fucking choke me out. So I'm here for now, but I'm still out there. I'm still on the prowl looking for a good a leasing company, something where I can make, you know, some line haul. I'm not trying to chase cents per mile, man. I'm not gonna make no money doing that. I feel I'll be happy if I make $300 a day here. I used to not move my truck for less than 7. So if that gives you any idea of how much of a pay cut I took, and I'm still not at home. So it's like, why don't I just fucking go back over the road again? Marriage is laced. Level-headed, fucking ready to take care. I'll see y'all another time.